Everybody, welcome back to Minute on the Mountain. I'm excited for today's video, a video I've been looking forward to doing for a while now. A company called Hey Trip reached out to me and asked if I would do a review video on their SUV tent. It's a tailgate SUV tent and their inflatable air mattress that goes inside your SUV. So I'm on the back side of my wife's 2011 Nissan Rogue. I've got a trip to Las Vegas coming up, and I'm going to test this out on that trip because I'm going to stop and shed hunt somewhere on the way home and sleep in the car. I've done this without any tent, without any air mattress, so I know it can be done. Last time I used this, I'll put a little card here in the video, but anyway, I just put down one side of the seats last time. I had my little backpacker's mat, and it was a tight fit. I had to sleep kind of curled up. I can't fully extend with the tailgate closed, but we'll see how this works. So here's the air mattress, and here are the features. It's got 2 separated chambers. You can adjust the firmness. It's durable and PVC-free fabric. They say it inflates and deflates easily. We're going to find out. Fits most SUVs, pet friendly. You get the air mattress, you get the storage bag, and it does come with a 12-volt electric pump. So that's what's in here. And then this is the tent. And they just have 4 steps. It looks really simple. I'm going to set the GoPro up on a tripod here, and you guys can watch me as I do it. Here's what it looks like on the other side. So we're going to get this thing set up, and then I'm going to put the air mattress in here, and let's see how quick it inflates, and let's see what kind of fit it has. So this is a little crooked because I'm on the concrete. I'm on our driveway. I can't stake these down flush to the ground like I normally would. So when I try this out on the road, I'll give it the proper setup. I had it inside out. Not inside out. I had it on backwards when I first put it on. This awning is zipped to the main body of the tent when you take it out of the bag. So I kept looking for the awning because then that would give me a reference point of which direction was which. And I should have looked to unzip it. But anyway, that took me, I don't know, 2 or 3 extra minutes to figure it out. Just threw it over the top. It's got elastic here that goes underneath your car. So you can see here. And then you've got 1 strap on each side that you hook through your back wheel. And then you've got 2 straps on top that run to your mirrors, to your side mirrors. So that's the setup. Now, if you notice, there are multiple other lashing points here. There's a loop there, there's a loop there. I mean, you could really tighten this down if you were going to be in a windstorm, let's say, if you're expecting heavy rain. And then again, I would have this all the way down to the ground and staked off. And so on my way home from Vegas, when I set it up, that's what I'll do. I just wanted to try it at home to make sure I knew what I was doing with it, because when I set it up on the way home from Vegas, it's going to be in the middle of the night. It's going to be dark. I'm going to be out, in the middle of nowhere doing it. So I just wanted to make sure I had a feel for how it works. Then you come in under your awning. Here's your entryway. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on setting up the air mattress. So let me get that unboxed and let's get it blown up, and that's where we're going next. All right, that little air pump made pretty quick work of this mattress. It literally took, I don't know, 25 to 30 seconds per side. I was having a hard time operating it by myself in the sense that as I would pull the nozzle of the pump out, I would lose some air before I could get the valve screwed in on the air mattress. But that has nothing to do with this particular product. That's anything you're blowing up. So I'm going to slide in here and let's get a feel for how it feels. Yeah, I clearly aired the one side up a little more than the other. Sorry guys, flip this around, hope you're not getting sick. So, you know, it's going to be close quarters, but I definitely get better mileage in this SUV than I do in my pickup truck. So, and I've got the tent on here, and you can see the extra room you get with the tent. You know, you could really, but you could sleep even without the tent. Just the air mattress itself would be a game changer, would be really nice. But clearly if you're going to be in it for a couple of days, you know, versus just the quick overnighters that I do, it would be nice to have the awning of your tent. It'd be nice to have the extra leg room. And if you're camping somewhere where it gets hot at night, you're definitely going to want the added ventilation of this tent. See, where I am in northern Utah, I mean, really, probably 11 months out of the year, if not all 12, if you go high enough, it gets cold at night. You know, we're down in the 40s and 50s, even in the heat of summer, if you get up high in the mountains here. So you could just sleep in an SUV, crack your window a little bit, and you wouldn't be uncomfortable at all. But if you were down in the south or, you know, down in the desert somewhere and it was going to stay hotter at night, you would definitely want this ventilation that the open tailgate gives you. And the extra legroom is nice. So I'm 6 foot tall exactly. So for me to lay my head down and lay completely straight, I can't do it with the tailgate closed. My feet would be banging into the tailgate right here. But with that open tailgate, it'd be extremely comfortable. So all in all, now it's just in my driveway. We haven't tested it out in the mountains yet, but all in all, man, it's a pretty slick little setup. And it's something you could just keep this tent. I mean, the carrying case is tiny. You could keep this tent and the mattress just in the back of your SUV so that you're always ready to roll. That's one of the things I like about it. You don't have to worry about taking it in the house, storing it somewhere, getting it out when you need it. If you're the kind of person that just wants to jump in the car on a Friday and see where the road takes you, this could be a nice little setup. So I'm going to take the tent off. I'm going to leave the air mattress aired up because I know I'm going to use this on the drive home. I'm going to put the tent up, and then we'll set this tent up out in the mountains and give it another review when we can get the awning down at ground level. Couple other quick thoughts, guys, just while it's fresh in my mind. I've already got the tent folded back in the stuff sack. Super easy to get back in the sack. I'm sure some of you have tents or sleeping bags or different things like I do that if you don't fold it meticulously and just the right way, you can never get it back in the bag. This has got plenty of room in the bag to put it back in. I don't even know if I folded it exactly the right way, and it didn't matter. Had plenty of room in it. So it was easy to take off, easy to put back. Convenience-wise, especially now that I've done it once and I know that the gathered elastic, is underneath on the bottom and where the awning is, I literally think even in the dark, when I set this up tomorrow night, it's going to be less than 5 minutes. In fact, I'll probably time it just so you guys can get an accurate representation. But I'm going to leave the air mattress blown up, as I mentioned. In fact, I'm going to top it off a little bit on this side. This side's pretty firm. This side, you can see, I was just having a hard time getting the nozzle out and getting it screwed in. So I'm gonna pump this up a little bit more. It does come with a patch and some adhesive, some patch repair. So if you get a hole in it, it does come with a patch for the air mattress. So I'm going to leave this in here. We're going to scoot it away from the tailgate just a hair to make sure we don't put a hole in it or anything. So you can see up front, it's resting all the way against my seats. Now I'm I'm 6 foot tall, so I've got my driver's seat pushed back a little bit. I could always push that forward 3 to 4 more inches when I go to bed tomorrow night. Same with the passenger chair. And that's going to give me a little more legroom if I choose to do that. So just keep that in mind if you're on the taller side. I don't know that 6 foot's taller. I think that's probably just average. But anyway, so I'm excited, guys. I'm really excited. What a sweet thing. Thank you, Hey Trip, for letting me test this out. I think this is going to be a game changer for me on these trips to Vegas. I try not to take my truck just because of the gas mileage that it gets. But I almost always, drive part way back and stay overnight somewhere and then try to hike in the morning before I come back. So I'm really excited to give this a run, and let's see how it goes tomorrow. Welcome back to Men on the Mountain, guys. We're out in the middle of nowhere on some BLM land just off the interstate in a little spot that I've never shed hunted before. I'm on my way down to Las Vegas. Speak at a conference. You guys have seen quite a few videos of me over the years heading down to this conference. So I got about 2 hours. We're not going to be able to spend much time doing this. It is windy as all get out. I don't know, probably 25 to 30 mile an hour winds, steady, and then some gusts higher than that. So we're going to get out here and work this sagebrush and some of these juniper pockets. See if we can find a shed or two. Not a good start, guys. I haven't seen any tracks yet or any piles of droppings. Zero. So probably not in a good area. Again, I only have 2 hours, so it's not worth it to try and hike back to the car. There's some bones. It's not worth it to hike back to the car and try to find another spot because I just don't have enough time. I do have a little more time on the drive home, and I've got a different area in mind for that. Another piece of bone right there. So we're just gonna give it our best shot here, even though I'm not seeing any sign. Get a 2 hour hike in. Just enjoy being outside. If we don't find anything, I'll let you know if anything interesting pops up. There's a piece that somebody was trying to form. You can see where that's been flaked off. And you can see that rock is unlike any of these other rocks around here. So that's definitely man-made in the sense that they were trying to chip it, trying to form it into something. I'm gonna look around here for a minute or two, see if I see any others. I don't know if that's going to show up in the shadow, but we finally have our first deer track. I'm about 1.25 miles into the hike and literally haven't seen a single track until that one. Wind's still blowing really heavy. It's a pretty hike though, just off the interstate. So I've got the hum of the traffic going, but this is nice, easy walking. It's just rolling hills. This is the kind of stuff I feel like I could walk for hours and hours and not get tired. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the deer have been hanging out in here. But hey, we saw our first track. Maybe we're starting to get into an area where we have little activity. So we'll keep going. Good morning, everybody. We are in, gosh, what county are we in? We're either in Juab County or we might still be in Millard. But anyway, we're getting out for about a 3-hour shed hunt on the drive home. It was a brutal drive last night. Whiteout conditions about an hour south of here for 2 hours straight. Took me 1 hour and 50 minutes to go 51 miles. But we got north of it. You can see they hardly got any snow here last night. It rained here last night. I've found sheds in this area before. I hiked, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 miles south of here and found some sheds in the past. I've never hiked this particular ridge. Let's kind of turn this around. I was looking back out over the area, back towards the interstate out there to the west. Mostly cloudy. It's supposed to rain and snow again today. Right now the sun's peeking out in a few sucker holes. But it'll be good to get some exercise in. Obviously it'd be great to find a shed or two. We'll see what happens. I'm just really slowly working this pocket of sage. So I got up on top of the first ridge, and there's kind of a plateau up here, a bowl, whatever you'd call it, and this nice sage pocket up here. Quite a few tracks in it, so they've been hitting this area for sure. So I'm just going to zigzag it back and forth, go from one end of it to the other, bump over about 10 yards and work it back. Definitely more sign here than where I hiked on the way down to Las Vegas, which is encouraging. I wouldn't say it's covered in sign, but a fair amount. Been following some elk tracks. There's some elk poop, and that didn't freeze. So that's from this morning. It's not very old. I'm ready to drop down into this big valley over here on the west or east side, excuse me. It's a Yuba Lake off in the distance, so you guys who live in Utah kind of have a general idea of where I am. We're getting pretty close to the car, so looks like it might be a ride on the old skunk train. I'm gonna wait and finish this video up when I can have that Hay Trip SUV tent overnight. My plan was to set it up last night, but I think I mentioned earlier in the video, I mean, I literally drove up here in a blizzard. Wind was blowing 30, 35 miles an hour, snowing so hard you couldn't see. I must have passed 200 vehicles that had just pulled over on the side of the road and were waiting it out, honestly, without exaggerating. I went 25 miles an hour for longer than I want to count. So by the time I got here last night, I just wasn't going to get out in that and trying to set it up. Now, I did sleep in the Nissan last night, and I did sleep on the air mattress, and I slept pretty well. I was happy with the air mattress. I think if I'd had the tent up, I would be able to stretch out a little bit more with the tailgate open compared to with the tailgate closed. So to give that a thorough review, I don't want to give it just kind of a half-cocked review. I'll wait and add this to a time when I can get it out again and set it up in the mountains instead of just in my driveway and sleep in it overnight. And then we'll just do the minute on the mountain somewhere, either when I get it set up the next time I'm out or from home. So thanks so much for coming along. You can't see it, the car's down there on the road. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up with the snow, but we're getting pretty close. Well, there is the Hay Trip SUV tent. I set it up in the wind. It's windy again today, and I'm by myself. So even with windy conditions, even though I didn't have any help, I set it up in 5 minutes. It was super easy. The carrying case they give you with it, it's big enough. I mentioned this earlier in the video. You don't have to meticulously wrap it or fold it the same way it came out. It's got a little extra room, which is nice, because then I just kept my tie-down strings attached. So as soon as I pulled it out, I could find these two, this tie-down string and the one on the other side there, and I knew which was the front right away. So that was one of the issues when I set it up in the driveway. I wasn't exactly sure where the front was. Now, tonight when I sleep in this, it's supposed to get below freezing. So I'm gonna actually pull this awning down. So one of the nice features is you can zip down the awning. You don't have to stake the awning out like I have it. Now I just have stakes going through these eyelets on the straps of the awning. I had tied these tie-down strings to it when I set it up in the driveway, and again I just left them hooked up, so I'm just going to leave them laying there. That's no big deal. But tonight when I sleep in it, because it's supposed to be cold, I don't want this exposed mesh on the back end. I don't want a draft to come in there, so I'm going to zip down the awning when I get in tonight, and that's how I'm going to sleep in it. You see I've got the air mattress in there, so that's the other piece of gear they sent with me. It's a double air mattress, and it kind of form fits to the back of your SUV. It's skinnier, and then it gets wider once you get past the wheel well. So I'm going to go ahead and zip this up. I'm going to get a shed hunt in this afternoon into the evening. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to go to sleep. One thing I would recommend, because these front straps are tying to your mirrors, it makes it a little bit of a pain getting in and out of your front doors. So you kind of want to get everything, everything out of your vehicle that you need to get everything situated before you tie these down. Or you can just leave a little bit of slack in them, raise them up over the door like this as you open it, and then you could really cinch everything down before you go to bed at night. The one other thing I'd recommend, I would park at a slight downhill with the front facing down if you're going to get rain or snow. The reason I say that, if you're facing uphill or flat, any rain or snow that accumulates on the roof, it's going to roll back and it's going to get underneath, and it's going to fall in between the body of your vehicle and your tailgate. Now, most of these are sealed pretty well, and it'll probably roll off to the side, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So any water that's accumulating on the roof, I want it to run away from my tent, not towards it. So that'd be my recommendation, to park just slightly downhill. Now, I basically parked flat. This is a pretty flat spot. We only have a 20% chance of rain tonight, so I'm willing to risk it. But if you were pretty sure there was going to be rain in the forecast, I would park with a little bit of a front slant to it. So, all right, guys, we're going to get out on the hike, and then the next time I show you this part of the video, as far as this Hay Trip tent, will probably be in the morning when I wake up, and I'll give you the review on how I slept. I'm looking forward to the extra leg room. I used the air mattress coming back from Las Vegas, and I slept a lot better in this car than I have in the past, but I couldn't stretch out all the way. And I think with the extra leg room, I'm going to be able to just sleep straight, which will be even nicer. Good morning, everyone. Well, having the tailgate open definitely made for a better night's sleep than 2 nights ago when I didn't have the tent on and just slept on the mattress and had the tailgate closed because of the weather. I made one little modification. They tell you to strap these front tie downs to the mirrors, but if you do that, you can't open and close your doors. I mean, you can, but you have to be really careful. You have to lift the rope up. So I switched it. All right, we got the tent all put away in the stuff sack. Really easy to put it away. Again, you don't have to be meticulous about folding it just the right way. One thing I wanted to show you, all of the tie-down strings have these iridescent diamonds, the reflective strips in them, so that at night they're going to really shine with your flashlight. That way, if you have the awning out, that would be a tripping hazard if they were just solid black, so that's a nice touch. I've opened the valves on the air mattress, so it's starting to let the air out. One of the cool design features is the valves are on the front and they're in the middle. They're towards the middle. So you can air it up and you can deflate it from your front seat. You charge the pump into your cigarette lighter. And so that's just it's well thought out, the way they have the valves placed, the location of the valves. Makes it easy for you as you're blowing it up. And that little pump will blow these things up in 15 seconds. I mean, it was fast. Again, it's dual chambers, so you've got 2 different chambers. Now, I did notice last night, my feet had a tendency to kind of slide in between the 2 chambers. Not a big deal to me at all. That didn't bother me, but just be aware of that. You can see it's narrow at the bottom and then widens out once it gets past your wheel well. And I've got it pushed all the way up against the seat. Again, I could push my passenger seat forward probably another 4 inches, and that'd give me 4 more inches of headspace up there if I wanted it. Got the air mattress deflated, folded up, and put in its carrying case. And I don't know if I folded it exactly like they would encourage you to fold it, but it fit. It was not a pain getting it back in the bag, which is really nice. And I was able to put the pump in the bag. So it's nice that you can keep the pump right in with the air mattress. That way you're not going to run off and leave your pump. So the air mattress is in here, the pump's in here. It's a nice canvas bag. This is, this isn't just like thin fabric. It's got a carrying handle here on the top. Dual zippers. So it's a nice setup, guys. I'm going to go inside. We'll do my final thoughts on it, but I was super impressed. I really liked everything about it, except I wouldn't tie the tent off to your mirrors, because then you can't get in and out of your vehicle without it's a pain. But if you tie the tent off to your windshield wipers like I did last night, it works slick. That'd be my only recommendation on it. Yeah, I apologize if this turned out to be such a long video, but hopefully the more thorough review is a little better. And sorry we didn't find any sheds on the shed hunt. I actually went out a second time. I was going to add that, but the video was already so long and I didn't find anything anyway, so I'm not even going to post that video. But final thoughts on the Hay-Trip SUV tent with awning. It's a really neat little setup, especially for a single person. I mean, it's a double air mattress. Certainly 2 people could sleep on it. But if you have 2 people sleeping on that mattress, because you have to fold your seats down, then you have to put all your gear either in the front seats while you're sleeping at night, or if you have a luggage rack on your roof, roof rack or something like that. But for me, sleeping in it by myself, I was able to put my overnight bag and my gear just to the side and still had plenty of room to sleep. So I really liked it. It's a little noisier than a regular tent. Last night was a significant windstorm again, and it was a little noisier than windstorms I've been in just a regular tent. But it's durable, and I didn't get any rain in or anything like that, and there was some rain falling last night, and heavy wind. I mean consistent wind, and none of the lashes broke. There's no poles to bend, which is nice. I've had some tent poles bend over the years or even break in heavy wind. You're not going to run into that problem. Obviously, you're up off the ground, so if you get water coming in where you're camped, that's one of the nice things about being in your vehicle. So I'm going to put a link in the description. They gave me a code for 15% off, so I'll make sure I put that in. You get a 15% discount if you use that code. I want to say thanks again to Hay-Trip for sending me the gear and letting me test it out. I'm looking forward to using it again. I'm going to wrap this up with the channel shout out and the Minute on the Mountain. So the channel I want to shout out is the Old Swedes Farm. The Old Swedes Farm, I'll put a link in the description. They have a ton of information about their flock of chickens. They do homesteading. He also has some videos about hand radio. I mean, just a little bit of everything. Every February, they do a $50 February challenge, where they try to only spend $50 on food, and everything else is stuff they've raised or they've grown or produced by their chickens, etc. So just a lot of really cool stuff on his channel. Again, tell him Men on the Mountain send you, please check them out when you have some time. The Men on the Mountain comes from 1 John, and we're going to be in 1 John chapter 1, verses 8 and 9. I'm going to read them to you real quick. It says, if we claim we have no sin, we are only fooling ourselves and not living in the truth. But if we confess our sins to him, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Just being honest about our shortcomings to one another, but more importantly, just honest before the Lord, recognizing we're broken, we're sinners, but he loved us anyway. He sent his son to die for us anyway. And what an amazing promise. Really, I think one of the coolest promises in all the Bible, that if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just, and he'll forgive us. No matter how many times we have to go to him and ask for forgiveness. So that's the Minute on the Mountain, 1 John 1. Hey, thanks so much for coming along. Sorry again about how long the video was, so appreciate your patience. God bless you guys. We'll see you the next time we're out on the mountain.